Hello and welcome to, well, so you can see it's an update video, so I never know how to start these kind of videos. Especially because, like, I'm used to, having a game in front of me, but I don't have a game in front of me here. But I am going to list a few games, because it feels kind of funny, because I was recording for Digimon World next door yesterday, and I mentioned, what I'm going to mention in this video here, and I'll be uploaded 2 days from now. While I might upload this tomorrow, it's the 24th today. It'd make more sense to do this now rather than later on, because this is due of October. As I've mentioned quite a number of times over the past year, no more October special where, I dedicate the entire month of October to an upload a day for horror Let's Plays. Because after a decade of doing that, I was like, okay, that can retire now. We'll treat October like any other month. But I'm gonna make an exception of, well, not an exception, well, a new rule going forward potentially, in that October can be where I start a new horror Let's Play. So instead of it, being uploaded every day, it can just join the regular upload schedule. For example, right now my upload schedule goes Rune Factory Oceans, day after that, no upload, day after that, Digimon World Next Order, day after that, upload Death Mark, that I'm still Let's Playing on my VN channel, day after that, Rune Factory Get the Pack. That slot where there's, no uploads between Rune Factory and Digimon World Next Order, I'll have the horror game Let's Play in that slot. So on this channel, it would be basically 3 uploads, 3 days, and then there'd be 1 day that there wouldn't be an upload, but that would be an upload on the VN channel. Does that make any sense? So basically, all of them would have like a 4-day. Each Let's Play would have a 4-day in between each upload. So it just become part of the regular schedule instead of just being, a daily upload, because that's what stressed me out the most over the years with the October special, is recording loads in advance, because I'd be uploading on a daily basis, as opposed to now, where I've noticed I've consistently record sessions on my current Let's Plays have been a week and a day in between each record session. So, there's plenty of time to just be like, yeah, I don't have to worry about getting some recording done, So the same can be applied here, but anyways. The question is, what game to go for? I'm going to potentially put up a poll on the channel. I've never done one before, but I'll see what I can do with that. Just listing each game, and I'm not sure if you can have like a date where it's like, okay, this poll is valid until this date. Because if so, I'd want it to be like, valid until October 1st or whatever, Makes sense. But here are the choices I've got. Let's see here. 7 games. And could have added more, potentially, but I might now. Honestly, I added 2 extra ones at the end, additionally, because this is pretty much more which Resident Evil game to Let's Play next. This is still kind of focused on that. So, first up you got Resident Evil Code Veronica, which I'm interested in playing, but at the same time I'm dreading the idea of playing it, because I hear it's really tough, and it sounds like it's tough in that if you don't know what you're doing in the game, you're gonna have a real bad time. That game is probably gonna be frustrating. But I am curious to see how it plays out now. Well, I'm curious for a few reasons of Code Veronica. One, to see just how the plot, from the first 2 Resident Evil games, kind of, well, it's more the first, really, isn't it? Because it's focused on Chris, I think, and Claire. So it's kind of a combination of the 2. While, Nemesis was more or less kind of, side by side with Resident Evil 2, in a way. So I'm kind of curious to see how the story goes on that. And I'm also interested in hearing the music. I haven't heard the music in that game, but I've heard it's apparently pretty good, so I'm kind of interested in that. I'm just dreading the gameplay itself. Next on the list, we have, you know, done Resident Evil 0 Remake, 2, 3, 4, Resident Evil 5 seems like, you know, logical to have here. Resident Evil 5 was the very first Resident Evil game that I ever played. And by that I mean I played a demo on the PS3 many years ago before I, you know, properly played the game, the Resident Evil series. I sucked at it, I got killed by zombies, and I was like, well, that's that, so I never played it. But, you know, now I'm more familiar with the series. Be interested to see where it takes it there. It sounds like Resident Evil 5 is, you know, if you look at Resident Evil 4, kind of jumping the shark, it goes from survival horror to action horror. But, you know, successful in a way because it's well received by many people. Not so well received by some people, I guess, at the same time. But Resident Evil 5 sounds like if they didn't jump the shark in Resident Evil 4, they jumped the shark there. And within Resident Evil 6, which I've not got on this list, is basically the equivalent of, you know, jumping the shark, turning back, and, you know, shooting a rocket launcher at the shark. That's basically it. So Resident Evil 5, that's an option. And I have seen at least one person request this, so I'll throw it in there. Resident Evil 2 Remake. I've played the demo of it. It is pretty different to the original, obviously, because, you know, it's been remade. So original Resident Evil 2 on PS1 that I let's played quite a few years back. I wonder how it would compare to that. So I'm kind of interested in that too. And then, you know, the first Resident Evil game I ever properly played through and let's played was Resident Evil HD Remastered Remake, essentially, which was good. As I've mentioned before, I've since platinumed that game quite a while back. I went from, you know, being an absolute noob at that game to being pretty competent. You know, getting through the hardest difficulties, actually planning things out. But I never played the original on PS1, so that's what we got on the list as well. I think it would be titled Resident Evil Director's Cut or something like that. Basically, the version that I was expecting when I originally Let's Played HD Master, I was like, wait, where's the cheesy voice acting that I've heard about? Because it was the different one, it was the remake. So the original, that's on a list. And finally moving on from Resident Evil onto 3 non-Resident Evil games. First one, Project Zero Maiden of Black Lake, which is recently, in the past year or so, I can't remember when, it was a while back, finally got a release on the PS4. Unfortunately, it doesn't have a physical version. Well, it does, because I looked up, it's like, can I buy a physical copy of this game? I hate having to rely on, you know, the PSN, and they usually charge an arm and a leg, you know? But, alas, that is not to be the case. At least not. I did see one that looked like it was the American version, but, you know, the fail frame, basically. It's the same game, but I think it's complete. Either game, regardless of what region it is, I'm not sure what PS4 looks. They're like, I'd rather have, you know, the PAL region, you know, because that works better for me, but no. And it's pretty pricey anyway. But, you know, I'm interested in potentially Let's Playing that, despite the fact that many years ago when it originally came out on the Wii U, when I heard about it, I was like, oh god, they've ruined the series, man. What have they done? But I am kind of curious to check it out nonetheless. And 2 additional ones that I added onto the list simply so that it doesn't end up being loads of Resident Evil games, plus randomly a Project Zero game. Silent Hill Downpour. I just don't know why. I just like, because, you know, I've Let's Played almost every Silent Hill game. Let's Play Silent Hill 1, 2, 3, recently 4, did Homecoming, it's Shattered Memories. The only 2 I haven't done are Downpour and Origins, and I'm not Particularly interested in Origins because it's PSP and I probably have to use an emulator. It did apparently get released on PS2, but that's probably freaking expensive as all hell nowadays and rare to find. I don't know. So, you know, Downpour, seen as possibly the worst in the series, but it's just like, yeah, put that on the list anyway. The other game is one I actually do own. It's the only one I own out of this entire list, and I'm just throwing it in there just because have a little bit of variety on the list, I suppose, is Darkwood. I've played it. It's kind of weird for me to put it on the list because I didn't particularly enjoy the game that much to play. It has great atmosphere, visually unique looking game. It's just so frustrating to play though. But I'd add it on the list anyway because why not? So those are the 7 options. Resident Evil Code Veronica, Resident Evil 5, Resident Evil 2 Remake, Resident Evil on the PS1, Project Zero Made in the Black Lake, Silent Hill Downpour, and Darkwood. It's just like now I'm gonna have to, you know, Google search every one of these games to get an image so I can use it in the video. It's like this game, that game, this game, that game, and so on and so forth. So, I'll put up a poll around maybe when I upload this, I guess. So, yeah, vote on that, I suppose. Which one you want to see me let's play for October. I mean, starts in October. Because it's not the October special anymore. It's just adding it to the list of current let's plays. So, yeah, put up a poll like it just I'm just repeating myself, but yeah, I will try to put up a poll, and you know, you can vote on that instead of being like, because sometimes, usually I'd be like, oh, comments, you know, what one you pick, but it never comes to that usually, so probably better to put up a poll, so I'll try that. Otherwise, I don't know. Maybe I'll just decide on my own what one to go with, I don't know. Away it goes, yeah, so that's that. This has been an update of sorts. I never know how to end these type of videos. So peace.